Sorry about that cutoff. What I was trying to say was that as we solve this, we're going to solve like we normally do any equation, but we have to pay attention to that inequality symbol. We ended up with 9 is greater than 3x. We then divided both sides of the inequality symbol by a positive number, so we do not need to flip our actual symbol. We ended up with 3 is greater than x, but because we can read from left to right and we can read from right to left, I switched it to say that x is less than 3. I then put a symbol or a open circle because that goes with our less than or our greater than symbol. And we then drew in the line that said that it was less than -3. So all of those numbers, all of those fractional numbers, all of the decimal numbers, all of those numbers to the left of 3 are less than 3. So x can be any of those values. So now I want you to go ahead and pause the second video here and take a moment and solve and graph problem number 2. Try your best, do what you can. When you are ready, unpause the video and let's see if your answer matches what I do. Okay, so you can see that I went ahead and I wrote down the problem again, so I left the original alone. I combined like terms, and a +1 minus 1, well, that's just 0, which means we don't even have to write it. So we're left with 4x is greater than or equal to -8. So this is a problem that is really common that students make right here at this step. And because we have a -8 on this side, they think that we need to go ahead and flip that symbol. But in reality, we don't need to flip the inequality symbol because we are dividing by the coefficient of that +4. So we're left with x is greater than or equal to -2. And you can see on this number line, we have it kind of listed out. What you really only need is this -2 and that 0. We know that x is greater than or equal to that -2. So because it has that equal to symbol, and that creates more lead or more pen ink to actually fill in, our circle is then filled in. And we're saying that x's values, all of x's values, are greater than that -2. So we're going to point our arrow to that greater than side, or to that positive side, because all of those values are then greater than -2. So now what I'm going to have you do is pause your video right here. Go back into your assignments, and in your assignments, you're going to have problems 3 through 8 to practice this skill. So you're going to pause this video, you're going to work on those problems on your paper. When you're done with that work, come back to this video, unpause it, and we'll move on to our last part of this assignment. Oh my word, is your brain melting yet? Because my math brain hurts. I just did a whole lot of math there, and my math brain, whew, it needs a break. We're almost there though, so stay with me just a little bit longer. We'll get there. So this next one, we're going to look at this problem that -3x minus 6y equals 12. And do you remember what form that's in? Do you remember what form we call that? Pause the video, write that equation down, and tell me what form it's in. Perfect. So now that you have that written, what form does it need to be in to graph? Can we graph it from this form? I don't think we can. So again, pause the video. Tell me what is the actual form that is needed to graph from. So that -3x minus 6y equals 12, that's in standard form. That's in that standard form where our a, our b, and our c are just numbers. But that's not a great form to actually graph from. We need it to be in that slope-intercept form. where that M and that B are our actual slope and our y-intercept, or our beginning point. So that is stuff that we have already learned. We have gone through that. We have manipulated them. We have used that key knowledge when we were solving systems of equations. So using all of what we already know, plus what we've already learned with our inequalities, what do you think needs to happen to negative 3x minus 6y is less than 12? Pause the video, take a moment, and write it out. Try it. Try something. What do you think needs to happen? Okay, my fine algebra learners, we need to make that be in the form of y equals mx plus b. Except we don't have an equal sign. We have an inequality symbol instead, but that's okay. It needs to be in that slope-intercept format. So the way that we do that is we need to isolate y. That's the whole idea. And so in order to get y all by itself, we need to add 3x to both sides. I am left with negative 6y is less than 3x plus 12. So we're close. But this is where we have to use what we've learned in the previous video. And now we need to divide by a negative. And because I have to divide by a negative, I'm going to have to actually flip that inequality sign. So what I like to do personally is put that circle around that symbol. That reminds me I need to actually flip it. So I'm going to divide this side by negative 6. And I'm going to divide each term on this other side by negative 6. I have negative 6 divided by negative 6, which eliminates and becomes 1. We are left with y is greater than, because I have to flip that symbol, negative 3 over 6x. And a positive 12 divided by negative 6 is negative 2. The only thing left I need to do is reduce that fraction. So I'm left with y is greater than negative 1/2 x minus 2. And we now have it in a format that we can graph. We will graph in our next lesson, not right now. So what I would like for you to do at this moment is take a second, pause the video, and try this last problem. This is the last problem that you need to do from the video, but not the last problem you need to do for your assignment. Okay, so again, I'd have to isolate that y. That is the whole purpose of this, right? We're taking those standard forms and we're putting it in that slope-intercept form so we could graph. So I subtracted 4x from both sides. I then divided every term by positive 3. Positive 3. Each term, I'm left with y equals negative 4/3 x minus 3. That is now in slope-intercept form. But what if that equal sign was a greater than or equal sign? Would that sign flip, or would that sign stay as y is greater than or equal to negative 4/3 x minus 3? Answer that question. You are done with this video. That means that you need to move back to your assignment, and you have 6 more practice problems to finish where you are just isolating y. You're going to move things around and isolate y. Be well, work hard. We will see each other again. Bye for now.